Well, thanks very much, Alan. That was a great demonstration. What a gentleman. So what do you guys think so far? Isn't this just a great experience? There's just so much learning in one place. So coming up next, we have the fabulous... Now, here we go. You ready?
Don't worry, it's Petya Shmarova.
I was scared how to pronounce the name, so I thought I'd send a little message. Petya Shmarova. I can't say it. I am terrible at pronouncing names. Let's just hear it one more time.
Don't worry, it's Petya Shmarova.
So Petya has written her very own book, which is all about wafer paper and veining. Now I do believe it's one of the first ever books out. So that just shows you how much passion she has with wafer paper flowers. Now during the lockdown, Petya has been learning how to speak Korean because it's one of our favourite places to teach around the world. She's taught in over 13 different countries and 3 different continents. How amazing is that? So sit back and relax, and it's time to watch Petya show you how to make the most beautiful moth orchid. And we'll see you after the adverts. Ka-ching.
Ever had an accident while transporting a cake? Well, your solution is Chibu Bag. So next time you can transport your cake with Chibu Bag easily and securely. Chibu Bags, versatility on the move.
So here we are. During this demonstration, I will give you some advice how to use wafer paper and how you can assemble these lovely flowers out from wafer paper. What we are going to use today is wafer paper. And for the orchid, I'm using double thickness of the wafer paper. And double thickness for me is 0.7 millimeters. So it's a kind of smooth both sides. And you're not going to worry how to vein and which side to use. You're going to need a bow tool, a medium size. Then you need a Dresden tool, nice sharp scissors, brush. I'm going to condition my wafer paper with water, pure water. You can go with alcohol as well, something clear like vodka, tequila, gin. Then I have here my glue. And this glue is made out of wafer paper mixed with water. So I'm going to use this mixture for gluing and assembling my flower. Okay, what is important to know about wafer paper? It's a kind of super trendy material now. I'm playing with wafer paper last 6 years, and my book about wafer paper flowers was published 216, and probably one of the very first flower that I made out of wafer paper was exactly this Moth Orchid. And for taking my templates and veining, I'm going to use this fabulous set from Patchwork Cutters. And I really love to use patchwork and wafer paper, especially with flowers, especially if you want to make flower without any wire and support, so a kind of 100% wafer paper. So patchwork is one of the best solution for you. I'm using cutters to take shape and to cut out my pieces. So for one orchid you will need these 3 out petals. Then you're going to need one of the moth wings, and then one from the central part. Obviously this one is the most tedious to cut. So you can use some nice firm cut. Place your wafer paper, take your cutter into the paper and very gently press. Try not to cut because it's going to ruin your wafer paper. All you want to do is take some nice print. Not sure if, yeah, you can get some idea. So I have the template, and with nice sharp scissors, super quickly, I'm going to cut through. So most important for wafer paper flowers is to work with nice, correct templates. So probably one of the most time-consuming thing is to achieve really nice templates. Sometimes you can go with using your cutters, and like for example this orchid, you can use exactly the same cutters and idea of some of combining the flower as it is from gum paste. So not to waste time, exactly the same way. I already have my other 2. Okay, and this set it's absolutely fabulous because you have a veiner inside as well. So as I told you, I'm using water and flat brush, taking some of my conditioning mix, in this case water, on my working space. And I'm really trying to work with, let's say, something like small drops. So I'm not over soaking my brush, and I will start to apply moisture around this petal, trying to keep all this central area dry. So my finger will stop brush and will stay here. So make sure that you're not over wetting. Applying one side, then you turn around, next petal. Make sure to check moisture is all over. And then third. If you eventually over wet, you can use some cornstarch, a little bit here and there. Okay, so when I'm happy with one side, I'm turning around and I'm doing exactly the same with the other side. Again, trying to keep central dry. Moth Orchid is probably one of the very well recognized and loved flower, for example, for the wedding cakes. So instead you have only this veiner, which is particularly for the wings, but you can use to vein your out petals as well. Choose one side, position into the middle, very gently cover with top part. Okay, you see, I'm stopping from breaking the middle, keeping this part up, and I'm just very gently, or not that gently, press so I can get some veining. Okay, I'm turning around. Next one. So Phalaenopsis, not all of the Phalaenopsis types have a kind of very aggressive and visible vein. So as long as you have some nice imprints here and there, everything is just fine. Okay, so leave to set a little bit when you're dealing with next part. Again, keep your center dry. So keeping center of the flower dry will speed process of combining. Okay, one. Okay. The other. Make sure you have your moisture nice and soak. Again. It was really amazing idea to have this Cake International on tour to turn on screen. I really love all times that I was demonstrating and teaching during Cake International. Okay, position, then find the middle, press, and again press both sides, avoid pressing center, because if you press center you will totally cut and you ruin your flower. So you're pressing sides. I'm having here some paper and I already prepare in advance too, so it's going to be much more easy to assemble. So pressing side, avoiding pressing the center. Okay, so again, this guy is almost ready. I can leave to set and dry a little bit into my mold, and with the Dresden tool I can make some middle of every one, just to give more texture and to make the whole orchid much more interesting. So here is the moment when you have to decide if are you going to wire, okay, or are you going to keep this flower without any wire, so you will be able to stick around your cake. If you're going to keep flower wireless, try to make the back a kind of flat, so it's going to be, and push your petals aside from eventual side of your cake, so it's going to be much more easy to stick around. If this flower is going on some wire, then you can be a little bit much more aventuristic and you can shape and give more movement. Okay, so when it's dry, it's going to be on wire, so it doesn't matter really. Okay, so usually when you're making orchid, the back petals or sepals, when you combine, you have one represented that represents a kind of human head, and then the other two are always representing as legs. So we have head and two legs, and then we are going to stick two arms. Okay, so before sticking the arms, again apply very gently extra movement. But before you're going to stick here, make sure that it looks nice. Okay, so dry, and because I want to flip my arms up, I need this dry part to be a little bit more flexible, and I'm doing this with a little bit amount of glue on back, so now it's nice and pliable. You see? A little bit more. What is super important with wafer paper is not to over wet. Okay? So best situation is to position this direction upside down on something to dry, and usually I'm using my wire cutter for this. I'm using like a stand, positioning on the top. You see, and I'm leaving to dry and set aside. Okay, let me very quickly assemble the other one. So here I prepare one totally dry, so I can continue. So again, I'm moisturing. Okay, and you see here I have different movements. So head, two legs, and then I'm positioning arms. Okay, and because they were dry, I can continue with my orchid straight away. Okay, when this one is still a kind of wet, so a little bit on the wet stage. So dealing with the middle part, we're going to turn this to that. Okay, first of all, take your scissor and divide this bottom part onto then you're going to need a very tiny amount of wafer paper. It's really a kind of very small one, and this is a normal usual thickness of wafer paper, and I'm applying some water because I need to turn this into a small ball. Okay, and this bow is ready. Dresden tool sharpened, press and form the lips. Okay, so lips are ready and they will wait for me until I mold and deal with sides. So again, we are keeping all central part dry. Some water on one small wing. Turn around. So this time I'm dealing parts one by one. I'm not wetting the whole thing. So on my palm, with the bow tool, I'm just pressing. Okay. And I'm shaping and forming side. Turn around. Do the same thing with the other side. So again, small amount, water, check, turn around. Again, and press. Okay. So now it's time to glue lip in the middle. So applying some glue. Try not to over wet. Take position. Okay, and I'm going to press. So it's thick. You see? Nice. Try this lip not to be something too huge. Okay? So now we are dealing with this kind of head. Again, water, check, part, water, and I'm flipping this up with Dresden tool. This is a flat, a narrow end. So okay, then some over shaping with your fingers. Let's say that we are almost there. And the only thing that left is to roll the bottom part. And usually, if air outside is too dry, and because it's a kind of thick paper, I'm using spray bottle with water, again pure water inside, and I'm just gently spraying from above, just to bring a little bit moisture, so I'll be able to roll without breaking. Usually the back of your brush is a brilliant tool, or you can use some small rolling pin as well. Again, as well on my palm, I'm just pressing and rolling. and bringing this part up. Okay, easy peasy. And because I have my orchid done, now some glue. Try not to over wet. So over wetting is a serious problem. And to make sure that it's going to stick, again I will press middle part of my lip with sharp ends of Dresden tool gently, supporting with my finger. And voila, you have your orchid. You have your Moth Orchid 100% wafer paper and eatable. So if these petals were a little bit flattened, it's going to be very easy to stick around your cake. So next I will show you how we are going to wire those. Let me very quickly assemble this one as well. So it's the same. Applying some glue, positioning, and very, very gently press. Okay. So for for wiring, I'm going to use a 26 gauge wire, and it's really depending what I want from this orchid. If it's going to be a kind of separate one, you need to make the whole stem much more thicker. And usually, by now, the most cheapest and easy way to do this is to use a paper, kitchen one. Now it's a kind of huge issue with the paper, so eventually you can skip this part till the madness is over. And if you have leftover paper, so 26 gauge wire cut in 4, and then on the top I have open hook, and this hook is around 1 centimeter long. And I will wrap some paper strip around my wire, so I will give some thickness, and when the whole flower is finished, it will have much more natural look. Usually when you're doing this with sugar, you can apply some sugar paste, but when you work with wafer paper, it's not that easy to wrap around wafer paper. So forestry tape, cut in half, stretch, stretch, stretch. So you're going to activate glue, then you start to wrap again. This 45 degrees, super important. So wrap around, wrap same direction in which you wrap your paper pieces here, otherwise it's not going to stay on place. So here we go, nice and thick. And because wafer paper is sticking best to wafer paper, okay, I will need to achieve some wafer paper base on top that will help me to stick my flower to wire. And for this I'm using wafer paper with thickness around 0.35. Strip. let's say that this strip is around 1.5 centimeter. First I'm going to condition rough side. As you know, this kind of paper, okay, you have both sides, rough side and smooth side. Usually for me rough side is always face. So I'm starting with rough side and water. Okay. Then I will turn around and we will apply some to the smooth side as well. Stick to your working station. Hook in between, close hook, and build some wafer paper over the hook, and then go down a little bit on your wire as well. First stage. Okay, so in between, close hook, and drop. Up, then go down. Okay. So now what you need is just to form this. Flatten a little bit top. Smooth side, open a little bit more with your fingers. Okay. Make this with the first one as well, before it's too wet. So flat the top. And here top it's a little bit dry, so I'm going to cut. So flat. Open. Never mind that your wire will be visible. It's going to be inside, so nobody's going to see. Okay. So then again some glue. Glue. You take your flower and very gently you will stick this. Okay. So take your time, press gently. You really want to smooth side and to incorporate very well with back of your flower. First it's going to make a very good join when it's dry, and second looks very nice on late stage when you start to dust. So obviously you have to leave this to dry before you continue. So upside down to dry like this. Okay, another one. Okay, some glue. And you're just positioning. So press. And help paper. You can come with your tool as well to help and support. Okay. So next stage is covering the whole flower, and for covering I'm using my usual colors, dust colors and paste color. So coloring a Moth Orchid, best solution is to have a very good picture of a real plant. So when you have a good picture of real plant, it will be much more easy for you to choose correct colors and to know where to. Okay, and here on my phone I have a picture of one real Moth Orchid. So looking this picture, it's going to be much more easy for me to color. Okay, so first for middle part and lip I will need some yellow. Let me very quickly dry this. So I will apply a little bit yellow in my spoon, because on next stage I will mix some of the yellow with my yellow brush. So a little bit yellow. On next stage I will mix this yellow with a little bit green. So I will continue to use. Okay, so yellow dust, and you're going to apply in middle. Okay, so don't blow. Whatever you do, don't blow. You can use a puff, or you just can take this away. Okay, first one, then we are coming to the second one. Again with some yellow into the middle. Okay, after this I will apply some green. And this is a gooseberry green from Sugar Flare. But you can go with whatever nice green color you prefer. Okay, another brush. So mix some green and yellow together. And apply a little bit here over the edges. I really hope you can see. It's kind of crazy with white flowers. Okay. But most important is that I'm using this combination to cover back of the flower. Okay. Okay. So then we have some red dots and indication inside, and for doing this I'm using paste color, red paste color, really a small amount. And if your color is very stiff, you can go with some drops of water just to make it a little bit more runny. Okay, and with one very fine brush, holding my flowers and keeping my hands still, I will make some dots over the lips. Okay. The other one. Usually they can have some strips as well, and for the strip I'm using another super fine brush. So keep pointed end. Again, position your hands and make 2-3 strips aside. Okay, that's it. Usually the white one don't need too much covering, and that's the beauty of all this. You're not spending a million of time covering, dusting and playing. Okay, when you have your flowers, this one is still very flexible, so need a little bit more drying time to assemble. I will go on it's 22 wire. Okay, 22, and again I wrap this wire with some paper, and then I stick everything with forestry tape. So for assembling, tape, and with help of paper shredder, you just insert inside. Don't go with your fingers. Cut in half. So I'm just starting a little bit below, choosing one for top, positioning, and I'm very gently wrapping, stretching, and fixing the first orchid on top. Okay. You're going down, and usually the more orchids are coming left and right. So at one point you just position your second one, and you will continue with Okay, and then third one a little bit below. And depends how big your cake is and for what you're going to use this Moth Orchid. You can go in a little bit more longer wire, and you can apply more than 3. You can go with 5. Hope that you enjoy this and that you're going to give a try to this pretty flower, and it's not that difficult to make, definitely. Thank you very much for watching this demo. Hope that you enjoyed, and now back to our lovely presenter Paul Bradford. Best wishes everyone, stay safe, and really hoping to see you in next Cake International live.
Yay! Thanks very much to Petya Shmarova.